Oh, yeah, you're right.
I'm
We
gonna,
got a lot of ambient noise.
what was that?
I said we have a lot of ambient noise. Right now.
Yeah,
But. Call it work, yeah. We're gonna run this, I'm on fumes, I know a couple people are on fumes, so we're gonna run this very effectively and efficiently. We're missing Catherine today. So. Sure, you wanna do the, seating of the members and taking attendance and all that?
Let's see. I'm all here.
We got Bert in the house.
Thank goodness.
Okay, our captain domestic is not here tonight. Nick Webb,
Here.
Bertram Schmitz,
Here.
Lawrence Willett,
Here.
Mark Giacomo,
Here.
Joey Lottie,
here.
Mary Jo
I don't
Bell,
have to worry about here anymore. Just got notification that the process.
All right. So we're sort of in the crunch phase for the land acquisition. So it should be a very interesting meeting in terms of where it's at. I know the OSPWA grant has opened up and I know Abby's looked at it. We also are in finishing phases of a lot of the studies. I've been working with Mike Hood to get Source and Connecticut Water on board. So hopefully, by the time this meeting rolls around in a month, we'll have more certainty. But a lot's going on right now. So with that, that's the end of my chairman comments. Pollinator Pathway Project. I have not done a thing on that, and I don't think Catherine has either. We'll hold off on that one. School food collection, MJ?
I haven't been to a sustainability meeting. Catherine went to that.
Oh,
So I don't know. I remember this from the last meeting, she said. That John.
right. From the school.
Yes, was very open to.
Okay, sounds like he needs a push.
Yeah.
Well, he needs the information in the right way. So, maybe you and I can work on getting the right information. Okay, cool. And then we've got Japanese knotweed. I haven't done anything on that, and I don't believe Catherine either. So I think we can scratch off them off the list.
you want to remove it from the.
No. It's still out there and it's working. So I think it's good that we think about it.
You want me to do a write up for Clinton events?
Sure,
This is the wrong time.
no, this is a great time. Because in the fall, that's when it really becomes.
Okay,
That's what it is.
I don't know when their next deadline is.
Okay, cool. I'll send you the stuff. Well, you did research too, but
Yes.
I did research and it's that white spray that really gives you a sense. You've got
Okay.
knotweed in your midst. In terms of old business, we've got the infrared camera. Probably months away from being able to do anything on that.
Well, next month, maybe.
Depends on how cold it gets.
Oh, yeah.
I have to say, the temperature really did come down quite a bit.
It's been fantastic.
It has been nice and no rain. In terms of collaboration, opportunities with sustainability, I have not reached out. Right.
That's more Catherine and I, we've talked about.
Okay. It would be good to get them here at a meeting.
Right.
We can talk about things. I think there's, from my point of view, and I'd love to hear Clay's feeling on this. I think, we're not punching our weight in terms of things. Solar panels on buildings in town. I think the, coastal resilience has opened up the idea that it's gonna get awfully more hot
Yes.
downtown. What could we be doing? It's a combination of, can we do shading and trees downtown? Should there be something we can do there? I was clued in that the, town had started thinking about replacing police cars. And I've floated the idea that we have, you know, like Tesla Model Y or something similar, as opposed to going out to. And I think all of it should be in combination with the sustainability. So I do think we've got a lot of reasons to talk to them,
Yeah, because there's definitely some.
a lot of overlap.
You know, I would just dovetail in, with regard to efforts to, plant more trees in the downtown area to, increase temperatures.
Yeah,
There's a discussion with water pollution control. They have already sought, and I believe they've gotten their initial grant, with regard to providing a design review for, a sewer treatment system under the parking lot, behind, what is that area?
There's two, so there are two different elements to it. There's, so they have funding in hand through the town. So there's ARPA funding that was assigned to this, plus additional capital funding, and then a grant application for CDS funds through Blumenthal's office that so far has gotten some good feedback. We don't have a final call on that money. But all of those funds in combination would enable the WPCC to get to final design on two smaller wastewater treatment areas, one behind Chip and one sort of in the parking lot behind Grand. That is partially owned by the town and partially privately held by a number of different folks. And so the intent there is to continue forward with the design phase of that to get the final design so that something could be advanced. There's more conversation to be had for sure, but there's good opportunity. It's also being looked at in conjunction with what could be done along the Indian River relative to water quality and water from the parking lot. Because we have those sort of overland districts.
yes, we do.
Yes, so there's an opportunity there. And then, you know, certainly the tree conversation, I think, is one that is important to have. The Planning and Zoning Commission right now is looking at the design standards, which will include planting specifications and at least direction for the development community as well as the town when we're thinking about projects and the idea of right tree, right place. And so where is the most appropriate, where is the most appropriate place to put things so it doesn't conflict with infrastructure, where trees and pavement will have issues, that we can achieve both stormwater treatment and if rural is an option with some of that narrow right of way and stuff. We're looking at a suite of landscaping options.
And that's what I was getting. In other words, we're gonna be ripping up those areas to put in systems when we resurface. That's where we have to want to think about, are we gonna put trees in there to help with that issue that you raised?
Yeah, I come to a competitive aspect. If you think about what the summer, from July to August, how many people want to be in the middle of town, walking down those hot pavement, hot sidewalks?
Yeah.
I was in Oklahoma in July, Oklahoma City. And literally it's uninhabitable. You cannot go. You can't go outside. And while I don't think we'll hit those kind of extreme temperatures, I think we have to start thinking about it when we start talking about things like long-term planning. For how do we make the downtown inhabitable even during extreme?
And Abby, I would mention to you in connection with our desire to start increasing the plantings downtown to lower the temperatures long term. Yeah, the city of Bridgeport, I do the liability work. in many different areas, but one of the areas is slip and falls on sidewalks. Sidewalks tend to lift up, not only because of frost days, because we're in New England, but more importantly, because of trees planted nearby and the roots
Yeah.
lift up the sidewalk. Changes, creates slips, tripping hazards, etc. So when we do plantings, to the extent that we're gonna do it, near or in the vicinity of sidewalks in the town, we want to try to see if we can do it with trees that would have like a taproot as opposed to going out horizontally and lifting sidewalks. And I'm mentioning that, I don't know if any municipality has ever taken that into account. But certainly in Bridgeport, we have that as a big issue.
Well, I lived in Philadelphia for 3 years. You know, the sidewalk monster is real. You know, my wife got a concussion from falling. I fell flat on my face once from walking down a sidewalk. So I totally agree.
Yeah.
So yeah, some research needs to be done.
As to
And
the type of tree that has less.
Yeah, so the list, we're working on the list now. Is gonna be informing that, Public Works will be informing it. The draft will come here before it goes out, so it's just part of the public process for finalizing this potential reg. And again, it's gonna be guidance, not requirements necessarily because of the way that the zoning regulations are structured. But we have a real opportunity here to tell people what we want and.
Great.
So-
That's great. Okay.
Our elm tree, like famously good for urban area.
I have no idea.
I think that's.
They're famously used. But again, I think a lot of it is, you know, looking at their canopy spread and looking at where, you know, above ground utilities are and what pipes we have where. And part of this is the infrastructure mapping and placing your landscaping strategically to make sure you don't have those interference points. That's gonna be the issue. And then the rules and all that kind of stuff. So we'll go through sort of planting list and why certain types of plants, trees would be chosen for different applications. And kind of give people a suite of options to say, if you're doing this kind of thing and these are your goals, these are the species you should be looking at and then try to line up.
And also, we might get some contributions from UI if we do our plantings on the side of the street that the lines are not on. So, which means their future cuttings and trimmings are gonna be reduced. Maybe they're doing some contribution with it.
Maybe.
We're gonna,
We're going to Eversource quite a bit. But yeah, it's good to hear that, and I think it would be well worth our time. So if everybody on this committee wants to do a little thinking on that, you know, we have an opportunity to make Clinton much more inhabitable. And I was walking down Civic, which is a wonderful, but it got so hot in August.
And with the railroad station downtown.
Yeah.
To connect the walkability.
Yeah.
There's even more pressure, we think so.
All right, good. Okay. So yes, I'd like to get involved with sustainability. I think it's time that we do that. I'll reach out to Brett.
He's in school, you remember?
Oh,
I think he's still with vacation. There's gonna be a little, there may be a little bit of a gap. Sure. Time for sustainability. The impact.
okay. But I mean, if only for the police cars and, you know, getting our vision, because they came in with this harebrained enterprise lease scheme, which didn't sound that good of a deal to me. We could instead get some grants for electric police vehicles, which I know that there's a couple of towns, I think Guilford, Madison, Mansfield, Manchester, all done. Might be really interesting as a way to not only get electric vehicles, but get them much less deal on Vegas. New business. I turn to you, Sherry, for budget discussion.
I'll probably jump in with that. So I'm just putting the plug in to start thinking about budget, and in part because, so we don't have a schedule yet, for what the budget season is going to look like. So I know we talked about for capital or matching for open space acquisition, and any of those kinds of things. So nothing has to be decided right away. I just wanted to plant a seed for the commission that, we'll need to go through the app early, probably find some time to meet with Michelle. And see how we're talking fit into the whole capital scheme, and go from there, so.
And I would note that the ask would be not only with regard to contribution for the current purchase that we have scheduled for the Route 81 property in, the next August, but also with regard to our desire with the Conservation Commission and the Land Trust, to elicit town support for future open space purchases on a more regular basis, maybe once every other year. So, or once every year, start building up that war fund to keep buying open space when available.
So I think it's a question of, two things. One, doing some discussion, having a discussion with surrounding towns and talking about what people are putting into their open space funding. So we know the West Fork Riverboat program, other communities do as well. What is sort of the average dollars folks are spending on these programs in terms of capital infusions every year or every cyclical nature? And then, how do we want to compare that? We want to try to ramp it up over years, or what does it look like? So, so now's the time to start thinking through that.
Yeah, we fell behind. Westbrook has been amazing with all of their land acquisition.
And Madison and Guilford have ramped up their position.
Have they? Well, Guilford did it a while back. They built this beautiful park. So it'd be nice if we,
And Madison bought the property that the airport,
right,
for their park, well, that's more for their use and for dog park. But again, they're putting aside monies and buying big pieces of property.
right. So, okay. So how do we want to action that?
I have a report. One of the things we wanted to do as a joint subcommittee, with regard to the Conservation Commission and the Land Trust, our interest to get future open space. What we wanted to do is we were proposing having a meeting with the new town manager to introduce ourselves.
Sure.
And also to, again, communicate our desire to get some type of, one, support for the current purchase, and two, annual support to build up our fund. And talk with her and maybe, have a planner available. She would be the interface between us and, allow a good constructive discussion. Wouldn't have to be a long discussion, but to put that input in and to introduce ourselves to the new planner.
Yeah, okay, I think that's right.
And I would think the best time to do that is we have to, create our capital budget and submit it by May.
So the schedule for this year isn't out. It's typically in the November, December timeframe. Usually like to wind the commissions up in November with your recommendations to go forward to the town manager.
So we might want to meet with her in October.
October, November, yeah. Mhm.
So, is that something, that you would like, to- or one of you would?
Yeah, I'll reach out to her.
And set a date?
Yeah,
Yeah, I know she said when she had made her appearance at the library, that she, I know. She said she eventually wants to go, she's been to several different boards and commissions and things, and she's trying to make her way.
okay, good.
To the extent that it would be good to have a planner there with us, because of what we're looking for.
Oh, totally.
Just, the question is, can we somehow, coordinate the time that you would be here, she would be here, other than daytime? I mean, if it has to be daytime hours, and they'll only
I
be
think
four.
it probably has to be dated. We also need to get, the land trust.
But that's what I'm saying, maybe we could do it, I don't know, does she ever have extended hours you do once a week?
So yeah, Thursday evenings are those are really that's that window we work.
And are those your, that's your evening? Thursday?
That, yeah, that's,
So-
the town hall hours, they go quick.
So maybe we could put our ask in now for the late October, early November, or no, then what would we say, yeah, late October, early November, whatever date that would be on the Thursday night. And maybe we could get that established now, if
Yeah,
that,
I'll reach out to her, I'll copy you on it, and I'll get, yeah, we'll probably have. Okay. Failing that, we may have to do different.
That'll be our default.
That'll be our back. Gotta have that. Okay. Update on plan and conservation development council.
Consultant selection, yes.
And unfortunately, Catherine is our representative. So I don't know if you've got a report you can give.
I do. So, we met, we had myself, the town manager, two representatives from the planning and zoning commission, Catherine for this group and Dylan for EDC. So we interviewed two consultants for 5 proposals given to the town.
Yeah.
All of them met the minimum sort of qualifications. And so we looked at the sort of best fit and price, in that kind of combination. Brought in 2 firms and one received all but one vote, it was almost unanimous vote to go with, resilient land and water. And so that's the recommendation the planning and zoning commission officially made, on behalf, so after the group met, to go forward. So we're excited. It's a group that brings a lot of sustainability and environmental background, but are partnered with 2 planning firms, planning firm and an economic development group that really balance out the suite of offerings. It was really one of the more robust public engagement offerings that we got throughout the process, and it's within budget. So I think we have a really good opportunity here. There's a couple local members of that team who are really invested in town themselves, and so in this immediate shoreline area. So I think people were excited to see what they could offer. It's the lead firm is a newer firm, but the principal and the folks who are in it come with years of experience. So some of the really well-known firms around the area. So we're excited. So the next piece will be a recommendation to Michelle contract. We can get started soon. And then what we'll be doing is setting up sort of the structure of how this will work. Whether all meetings will be at P and Z meetings as part of the working element, for sort of steering committee for the whole thing. We'll probably have breakout sessions on some Thursday evenings. We'll have the consultants come here to talk to you specifically, ensure that you have opportunities for the open space and conservation things in the plan to really be involved. So, we want this to be a really.
Right. So is your job to talk with all of the parties involved in the commissions and boards, and then help us in the preparation of our next station?
Correct. They are the consultants who will be running in terms of the consulting services. The planning and zoning commission is the lead agency on the plan. However, all of the groups have stakeholder elements and conservation has various roles. And so that'll happen. The nice thing about this, I know that in the past, and we had sort of John's support for the drafting of the plan in the past, but there was a lot of work done in-house with the folks, kind of crafting internally, and they will be writing the plan for us with our feedback, with our guidance and direction. But they will be giving us product to review rather than us having to generate every aspect of it. So that's a nice feature of this.
Yeah.
And then certainly one that we've spent 2 years building up. So,
Is any aspect of their work, would it be helpful in connection with identifying areas where the town can go for state or federal grant money?
Yes.
Or is that?
They have, so they basically, they can point us in directions and certainly do that. There's also opportunities, sort of the implementation plan that can identify funding pots and sort of general rotations of funding, and then also ways to keep in sort of abreast of what's going on. There's also some other tools at RiverCog through our Thrive program that we're participating in terms of some of the transit-oriented development stuff that actually surprisingly can come with some open space connections and some other conservation elements to help those central areas become a little greener. So there's good opportunity to take resources from a number of different places, and they'll help us synthesize that in the implementation strategies. So yeah, so we'll get there.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna ask one other question. Do we currently have in the town someone who is focused mainly on grant applications?
Yeah, we don't have somebody who is employed solely for the purpose of grant.
Do other towns have it?
Some do, some don't. A lot of times it's all the planners, town managers, town engineers. It just depends on the type of project that it is. So right now, certain just depends. Like Jeff could be doing emergency management stuff. I could be doing the open space stuff. So we all take the pieces that fall over.
Is that something we should be advocating that we could do in terms of putting it in its future budgets? looking for somebody to focus on, grants. And the reason I say that is, depending on how the elections go this fall, we may have more access to, state, representatives and senators who could help this town get more money, but we got to put the applications and the answers.
Correct, and so some of that is the getting the sort of the shovel ready aspect of things and having the technical, so the funding to produce the technical documents necessary to make the applications. And then having the funding to manage those grants if they're voted, that piece of bookends. I mean, certainly I would never be somebody who said that we don't need extra support to do that. Which makes me go after more and do more for our residents, and then fantastic. You know, it's about where are those staff dollars, you know, gonna go, it's the consulting service, because it's something that we can manage in-house, but just need some extra support for the grant management side of things. If you've got a big federal grant, it comes with so many strings
Yeah.
and hard caps, so that kind of stuff may be helpful, just to the paperwork management.
Okay.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, there are consulting firms out there that can buy by the hour in a sense. And so, what's that?
I'm gonna have to go over to the Pearson meeting as well.
All right, well, we'll let you go.
Is there anything else you need from me for this meeting?
The only thing I would say is the OSWA application, what do we need from you?
So we're meeting on the 26th to start going through that, so all of the stuff that came over from CHA. I'll start to sort of work through the grant elements and that kind of stuff, and we have that Thursday meeting, we're gonna get together and talk through the grant application itself.
That's right, and we have that scheduled for September 28th, 5:30 to 7 at your office.
Whatever whatever that Thursday was.
Yeah. It's Thursday, September 20,
Sixth.
wait a minute, it's 26th.
Yep.
That's right.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, good. So, my only question before you leave, and in connection with that is, we have the, survey done. Did you get a copy of it?
I think the survey was copied to me, I have not seen the page one. Yeah, I have not seen that.
Okay. And we'll make sure that gets.
Yeah, the OSPA grant does not, remember that there was sort of the, we wanted to go for additional funds and they require that, but the OSPA grant can be submitted if that's not ready yet. But if you want to go for the federal matching pieces and the elements to help bring that 65%, to 60% to 90%,
Yep.
that's where that.
Yeah,
The
we
environment.
Correct.
Yeah, okay, so we'll push to get it to you ASAP.
Yep.
And then you could have a tentative draft, of what you can do.
We'll start, exactly, Yep.
Good.
and I've been working with Mike in terms of sourcing.
The demo will connect and certify.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Abby. I think that concludes. Oh, are there any additions to the next regular meeting agenda? No? Okay. Sure, this is our favorite part of the meeting, as you know. This is when we cover the correspondence.
Oh,
I haven't really seen much this month.
no, that's because I've been out. So I'm just catching up. I did see something today. But it's more than.
Oh, yeah, yeah, I'm on this. The CLCC, Connecticut Land Conservation Council. So we'll forward that. Quick. So you have a copy of it, so.
I can send it to you.
Okay. I'll forward it.
Is that the resilient grants for the projects?
Oh, yeah, the monthly newsletter.
Yeah.
So one of the things, I mean, not for the Route 81 project, but you may be interested for others, is land stewardship. So I can help you with that. Okay. Then that covers that off. So we're gonna take a pause on the standard, and we're right on schedule. Right to the joint land acquisition subcommittee meeting. So. By the way, before we do that, we need to approve minutes from last.
Oh,
Yeah, we never did that.
So can I get a motion to approve minutes from last?
Commissioner.
Right.
Oh, okay.
All right, Bert, so Larry motions, Bert seconds. Is there any conversation? Did anybody have anything that they're concerned about? No? No? Okay, then all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
I have to abstain.
Yes, you do.
Well, I wasn't here either, but I did read the minutes and Sherry told me as long as I read the minutes.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so,
Yeah.
okay, well, we need that vote. And then all opposed. Okay, carries unanimous.
Okay, now.
Now we're gonna go into the land acquisition. Subcommittee. So let's, just do attendance.
Nick Webb,
Here,
Larry Willett,
Here.
Mark Chirico,
Here.
Mike Booth.
Here.
It is,
Mike Sigley. Well,
I should say, maybe,
we're only like 2 minutes past the hour. Yeah,
big town.
okay.
You want me to give a quick update?
Yes, I do. I've got some updates as well, so we'll start with you, Larry.
All right, so. What,
No. Oh, we have to approve the minutes. So can we, can I get a motion to approve the minutes of the sub?
I'll make that motion.
Can I get a second?
I'll say,
It's Mike Booth.
Is there any discussion about the minutes?
It's Mark.
Abstain.
Mark has to abstain. So, all in favor? Opposed? All right, so then the minutes. Now we can get to Larry.
So, bottom line is we're moving towards, there's a meeting scheduled and I'll get to that, in the latter part of September. Where we're gonna try to complete the state application, for grant money. And, to do that, we have certain outstanding documents that we gotta get. 2 of them is the updated survey and the environmental study. From an email I received today from Mike Hood, he indicated we received the updated survey.
Yeah.
Is that correct? Abby indicated before she left that the planner received it. So, the updated survey is in, all complete. The second thing is the environmental study, which is being done by the same firm that did the updated survey. You were gonna do a follow work, when you're gonna get it into us?
no, I emailed Chuck. Thank him for the survey. When can we expect the environmental survey? He was. And response. He's not gonna be in the office. The response that he in the office today, I will check in my emails. So I wrote him a note, I just said. Thank you so much for getting the survey to us. Do you have any idea when you're gonna be able to give us the survey? Please let me know as soon as you can, so.
Well, of the things that will get in the way of OSWA, which is the Connecticut cert grant. We don't need the environmental survey. It'd be nice to have.
Yep.
But it's not required and it's not part of it, so.
We do want to have it for the meeting to prepare the application. And the thing is, the meeting is scheduled for September 26th. We have a few weeks of lead time.
Right.
So what I'd like you to do is, follow up with your inquiry on the steps of the environmental. When I initially talked to him back in August, he assured me he'd be able to get it to us by the beginning of September. So if you could follow up with him, make sure he gets in within the next week and a half, and then make sure it goes to the planner, because the planner needs it to prepare, get some of the information, the state application. Did you?
I just had a question about an environmental study.
Sure.
Are they looking at impact on wildlife, or are they looking at toxicity of soil? What's an
What they're doing is they're gonna go into the site, and they wanna see, what are all of the environmental features of the site? And what does it have in terms of water,
Sure.
rivers,
Wetlands.
wetlands, what's, yeah. And what they're gonna identify, which is important to us with regard to the application, are all the positive features of the site, which are worth preserving.
Yes.
And then we'll also go get into any other things they find on the site that's key to the report. Basically, the environmental study is our due diligence. Before we go ahead and buy something, we want to know what we're buying.
Sure.
This is a food inspection.
That's perfect
Yeah.
explanation.
My dad.
All right, so, we're just about there with the environmental study. Mike, your follow-up, make sure it gets to the planner. Planner's gonna take that along with the survey and use that to help her prepare a draft of the state application, which, we're gonna do at a meeting with the joint subcommittee, which I've scheduled with the planner on Thursday, September 26th, from 5:30 to 7, which is the time she's here in town hall. So I think it would be best to have her there in connection with the application to help us finish it off, if we can.
Right.
Now, I hate to mention this because I don't like to say that we have an extended deadline. But Abby did tell me the application, which was originally indicated to be due in early October. It looks like the extended time goes back to December, but you know what? We don't want to wait till December. We want to get this done and in as soon as possible.
Yeah, you get brownie points in some of these places for actually getting things in early, so
Exactly.
let's not, I think
That pretending deadline is still up.
that's right. Now, one of the things Abby said is like, we need to have funding matching sources, so obviously you've got the land trust, that's one source, you've got town of Clinton. The more we can lock that down, that will be another source. As you know, I sort of applied to 2 additional grant sources.
Yep.
I,
AARP and William P. Wharton.
and then there's 2 more that I sort of looked into, I worked with Mike on that. I don't know if you saw the PDF I sent you for getting.
Eversource?
Probably Eversource.
Was it the water company?
Oh, it's what? Because the Eversource, you need to create an ID, log in and do it. I don't think the Eversource.
We submitted an initial. I went to get in contact with them.
Well, it seemed like all you did was send an email.
I sent an email, but send it to the site they directly to send it.
Okay,
For 2 reasons, to see if I could talk to someone concerning the funding, but more importantly, talk to somebody concerning possible access easements.
sure, which is great. And we still need you to do that. They have a very defined process to go for community funding. You get this ID, user ID, you log on to that site. And then you start work on the form that's online. And they give you an answer.
Okay,
Fair enough.
you going to pursue that then?
The land trust do it, so I sent that over to Mike.
Okay, good, good. Maybe you could follow up with this.
This is better source. Happy to do it, Mike, if you want us. I'm not officially a land trust member, but I feel like I'm an honorary land trust member.
Yes, you are. This is spirit.
So I'm very happy to do it if you want. I sent you the water company one. It's all filled out. You just have to change the, who you wanted to have it from. And then submit it.
I haven't submitted that yet because I need my technical person, which would be my wife. The change is.
Okay. Again, very happy. So if you decide that's too much, I'm very happy to submit it.
Okay, so you two guys will work somewhat on that, we'll see where we can go.
But it's important that we get those two in, because again, matching grants is part of the blueprint that they use to score these. So,
They score these things, you're talking about,
I'm talking about state DEP,
they see us coming out there. And
doing our work,
money from other places, they're looking.
that's right. Yeah. So,
So, and
as well as the town of Clinton, as well as you guys, in other words, there's multiple sources coming in, funding this, they like. And then, the stage two of the OSWA is there's a federal sidecar to this. That's the federal forestry service. That if OSWA grants it, then we can apply to them. That's the one we do need the environmental study for. Because then they will match or potentially match what OSWA did. So, I mean, by the end of it, we could have a surplus of funds. I don't think so, but.
okay, so the bottom line is, you guys are checking into that. So now we have the environmental study, the survey already went into Abby. We're expecting environmental study, which Mikey will follow up with, make sure it gets to Abby, before the September 26th meeting. Next, we need the property search and the signed sales. Now, I have followed up several times with our attorney, Ken McDonald.
Okay,
And he's assured me he have it in for the first couple of weeks of September. I'm gonna do another follow-up with Ken. I'm gonna be on top of making sure that it gets done and it gets sent into Abby before the September 26th meeting, so she can use that to help their application. Okay, so
the more of these artifacts that we have, the better. It's, again, if you look at the rubric, and the DEP scoring, it's like, do they have it? Is the property, valuable conservation? Is it, they've got like these 15 things that they, graded on. Things like contiguous to other properties. I mean, we've got a lot of this.
Yeah.
So, that would be great.
So, again, we'll get together then September 26th to put this together. Now, one other thing was, let's see here. That's basically,
Now, I know
That's what- Six, that meeting is with, these are,
it's gonna be on a Thursday night in Abington. Have it then and there, she's gonna be there between 5:30 and 7 for us. So it'll be, it's already her schedule locked in.
Yeah.
And so we'll all go there. And look at the draft, the application that she will prepare based on what she's got, and then try to complete it. Or if we need to, one more session to complete it, we'll be scheduled with it. So it looks like we're online, to complete the application, get it in early October. And then we gotta talk about, that's what we talked about tonight, about getting together with the town manager, talking about, starting funding on an annual basis, as well as with regard to this purchase, from the town.
right, and as well as starting the forestry service application too.
That's, right. We have these applications for other funds, and also, like, when we bought the White's Blood Bank in interest a couple of years back, didn't we get some money donated from some individuals, some substantial $10,000 or $20,000 donations?
yeah.
Well, we have to check who those people are.
Actually, I also have to check, I'm blanking his name right now. Like, out of the blue, Paul Newman's, group sent us
Really?
$5 grand, yes. And unsolicited, it just landed in our lap.
Paul Simmons Group? I can look to see if they've got a
Was
grant process.
community.
Yeah.
Grant, thank you for all you do in your community. And then, the other guy's name, I'm drawing a blank. He, has had a plan, and we saw that. We get space, he gave us 10 grand. And I found out later, he was actually at that time the head of.
Oh,
But the money came from him.
right. No, it'd be good to reach out. So I'll look into Coleman's, charity. I've gotten pretty good at navigating their forms and all that stuff, but if you can find out that individual's name.
So bottom line, in the September, we'll get that grant application completed, so we can submit it in October tentatively. Number two, we meet with the town manager and the plan to try to get state town funding sometime in late October, early November. And then the last thing we want to do, once the application is in, and we've gotten all of those things done, we have to talk about trying to develop a community effort to, one, educate people about the importance of open space, support open space, and two, to solicit their support in terms of dollars.
Right.
For this project.
But the Conservation Commission can't do that.
Well, no,
No, the
we
land.
can, yeah, but we can also, well, yeah, it's also, it's gotta go into the, conservation funds, because that's what they're gonna use for the purchase. But that's something we need to do, these fundraising efforts. And again, like you indicated, Nick, to the extent that these grant sources see that there's a lot of different community people involved in trying to do this, it shows them that public support, it gives them more of an impetus, to give us a grant for as much as they can.
No question about it. It's one of the top rubric things, is where you're getting your funding, sources, what's coming from the community. I mean, to be honest, the town of Clinton is probably the number one thing we've got. Land trust is probably number two. It's those two things are gonna be very, very.
The land trust, we've already committed.
No, I know that, but
What we get from all other sources is great.
we can't say that.
Well, we're hoping to look to make up the difference.
Yeah, exactly. You can say that a little bit, but it's important, you can say, look, we're, land trust is committing 50 grand or something, whatever it is. But we don't want it to appear like you're going to.
That's not gonna look very. Yeah, no, we want to get the support from all different groups. And again, once we do this and buy this property next door, then we want to look towards targeting another property and using the same format and the same group to move forward on another property.
Right, no, I agree completely. So then it becomes a question. If we're gonna do this and do it right. Is we have to find out we got to reach out to the wealthy donors, make sure we start. Nurturing them with a campaign so that when it's time, they'll write a check.
Yep.
So that's something that, I've done a little bit of social marketing on this, but this is not one.
Hmm.
So,
I think, too, though. To Larry's point. We need to meet with the town planner, and the town needs like solid structure. Like funding annually to,
yes,
because I mean.
so we do have an account that is the land acquisition fund.
Right.
But it doesn't get naturally nourished, and we need it to be on a yearly basis.
Yeah.
Town of Clinton is putting in 20 grand.
At least, I mean, it's like, that's like that's gotta happen, that structure's gotta be set up. It's like, especially with pricing and things.
Right. So the Westbrook Conservation Commission or Land Trust. There is a,
I don't think the Westbrook, is what Westbrook have land trust?
I don't know, they do, whatever they do, they're doing it very. But isn't our land officer, the police officer that goes out, checks on things, isn't she? part of Westbrook? usually wonderful. I'll have to research this. But there's a person in town,
This term.
this town. But she also does the Westbrook Conservation Commission. So I would like to just pick her brain as to how much money's flowing in from Westbrook.
Well, I know, I forget the name of the guy who passed away years ago, he used to be on their conservation commission. He was a state forester, and because he knew about grant applications, he ended up getting, and this is 5 years ago, Westbrook had already got 18 separate space purchase grants.
Yeah.
So he was way ahead of the game for all the short.
Right.
Getting to Westbrook, and that's why it'd be nice for us to start doing the same thing.
Well, and to be honest, that's kind of why I explored and started putting out these grant proposals to the WAPE board. Some of these other, there's a lighter foundation exploring now, although the person has courage. Just doesn't think that we have a worthy.
Yeah.
But it'd be good to get a process down. We know who to go to and where to go. It does take a lot of time. It's
Yeah.
sort of like a rainy weekend day.
Okay. All right, so we're all ready.
Yeah. But I'm also documenting it so that we'll have a place. Good. So, okay.
One, I will. Remember you talking to the owners. The next. Oh, that's Ken McDonald. Ken McDonald got them to sign a letter. 59, fair market. By, and they also got them to agree, to sell next August, the whole land in abeyance, awaiting our sale next August. So they've already agreed to that in a signed letter of intent, so we have that. Now, Ken is supposed to get a signed contract from them, and we're supposed to have that in within the next week to 2 weeks. I'm following up to make sure it's done.
Yeah.
I put the request for Ken to start doing that in June, followed up in July, followed up in August. Now, we're in, the end of the traffic back, and he assured me he'd be able to get that along with the title search, which does. And the title search will cue us in on any issues with the property, what are the easements?
Yeah.
What are the limitations exist, we don't expect any surprises there.
We know there's an easement already with Eversource, and that's okay.
Now, I would know,
But it'd be nice to know exactly what the easement is.
but I would know, it's a survey, the survey that, again, I was surprised that on one of the. It referenced a lot of different small property owners up against the property. And some of the house structures were right up to the line with some of the lawns extending into the purchase line. And obviously, we don't want to have any issues with incursions in the land, et cetera. So we have to look at what it will present an opportunity if someone already has a certain step amount of property on their into ours, maybe we trade that road, or so we can get more road access on the roads.
How about a little funding?
Well, we could do that, but
I would think if I was a property owner boundary this, I would be very interested in this retaining the undeveloped.
Yeah.
So,
sure, but keep in mind, one of the things that we run up is a lot of times people, if they hear that we're buying a huge piece of open space in their neighborhood, we're gonna open it up for use by creating trails.
yeah,
They're concerned with outsiders coming into their neighborhood and, having access to the trail, and it might result in, people, coming on their properties or et cetera. Whatever people may conjure up in their head as to.
Yeah, fair enough.
Do,
I would too.
you've always got to, address that concern.
Well, let's buy the property first before we address your concern. Okay, I think we've done Any other updates? No? Okay, so I'm looking for somebody to motion to close the meeting.
I'll second.
All right, so Mark, motion, seconds, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right,
Now, that's after the subcommittee.
that's just. the-
Now we have an
Now-
adjournment.
Now we need a motion to make that motion. So Larry makes the motion to close the commission, conservation commission. And Mark seconds the motion. Do we have any discussion on the motion? No? All in favor? All opposed? We are closed.
I want to commend our chairman in creating a very short and substantive meeting. It's always important to keep meetings short.
You know what, it's so much more fun to have